Feed me, Carbon! Feed me now! I'm starving!
Look, maybe I can squeeze a little more out of this one.
More!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have an Audrey 2 update. Now, let's take a look at this beautiful line that's running out into the kitchen. Now, I did start to notice a little bit of withering on this leaf. That wasn't too much of a concern because, I mean, you know, further down we got some pretty good, decent looking leaves. And I already know that these leaves aren't going to grow back, so yeah, it's not too much of a concern. But it's starting, and I'm glad that I'm starting to actually recognize and realize things ahead of time. I'm getting to know my plant. So if we follow this line back down, you'll see that there was some yellowing beginning to take place. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to loosen that tie so that I could separate that line from the rest. Now, the cause for this yellowing, I am not 100% sure, but one thing is for sure, no roots have grown on this line just yet. And remember, this was the big line that was on the opposite side of the room that was actually starting to go upstairs. And there was a point when it was actually rooting and starting to show signs of life. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim this. Now, I do see some rootage here. However, the line is also kind of yellow here. I think I want to get to at least here. I think this is where I want to start my trim. And what I want is for as much of this as possible to be in the water. Why? Because I want water roots to grow. I think I discussed this in the conclusion to my pothos experiment, but water roots and soil roots are not the same thing. They are not equals. They do not survive under the same conditions. So what I'm going to do is, I think at least here, cut that. This is now trash. Unfortunately, maybe we can try an experiment with this. Possibly if we put this in some water, we might see some roots develop and we might actually see some plants come up. And considering that our original pothos experiment is over, we just might do that. But this right here, going straight into the garbage. Unfortunately, I do not have a compost occurring at the moment, so that's going to the trash. Now, because I want all of this in the water, that means I gotta bring this vine back. It's entirely possible that that may end up in the water. No, you know what? No, that leaf is probably gonna be just outside of the water. But at the end of the day, I'm definitely gonna need two hands, so let me go grab the tripod real quick. I think that's a little bit better. So now, this should be enough to possibly reach the bottom of the tank. But first, before we do that, we're going to put this tie back on here. Oh, you know what? This line right here. This line right here needs to be cut. Now, I'm not 100% sure what happened to this section right here, but as you can see, some damage created in this section completely cut off the nutrition and water from being able to continue to the rest of the plant. So that is something that I noticed last week. However, I did not take action when I first saw it. Learn from that mistake, folks. It is possible that because there's life still in here and I still see nodes, that we could see some life return back to this plant. However, this leaf damage would not be as far along as it is right now had I taken action when I first noticed that. Again, I'm trying to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm not perfect here with my horticulture adventures. I am trying, and I would hope that you all learn and do better than what I'm doing. For example, here's one that I didn't notice until just now. Now, if we watch what I'm tugging on in here, you'll see that there's actually plenty of roots on the end of this. And up until that point where the yellowing is occurring, well, it actually looks like a fine, healthy plant. So what's going to happen here is we're just going to pull it up just a smidge so that we can cut off where the yellowing is occurring. And hopefully, we'll see some actual growth. Possibly because this was, you know what, I don't think this was part of the group that was tied up. This is the one that was in that group of 3 that, if you remember when I first set this up, I didn't expect it to make it anyway. But I'm not 100% sure what happened to this line. But because there are roots on it, and actually there are leaves on it. There are underwater leaves. Get out of here. Really? Well, all right. Maybe it's devoting its resources to all of its underwater. But we're going to come back here. We're going to come back here and get these 2 shorter lines that we were originally starting with. And we're going to go ahead and group them back together. And please keep in mind, folks, that this is just to keep them together. I am not actually using these ties tightly, just like I did in the Guppy Grove. We have a loose bunching. See, so like I can actually move this up and down these stems if I choose to. But at the same time, I got them at one of these root nodes so that it won't go but so far. And then this is simply going to go in the tank. I'll get enough for dropping this phone yet. I'm glad I got a case on it. So now So now that line appears to be going kind of almost horizontally. And I hope I didn't do much damage, but see those leaves? That's from that. See these leaves right here? That's that one that I just cut. So apparently, that particular plant and line is thriving. I just noticed something. Do you remember me mentioning about the nodes and how they work? The roots come from the bottom and the leaves come from the top. Look at how this is oriented. Huh. That means this plant is actually upside down because the roots are coming out of the bottom and the leaves are coming up out of the top. I think I want to keep this line like that because I want to see how this goes and see how it grows. Looking at the third line, the roots appear to be coming at the bottom of the node, so this one is right side up. However, we do have some yellowing at the tip, so we're going to go ahead and trim that. So now what we have left over is what appears to still be a live vine and what is also a sickly live vine. And with these two, we can begin a new pothos experiment. Stay tuned, folks. Once again, I'd like to thank you for joining me today, joining me and Audrey too in all of our adventures. And as you can see, Tui is over here still doing her thing in her new setup, looking like she's loving life. I'd like to ask you if you know anybody out there suffering from any form of mental illness, that you please reach out to them, folks. You never know what difference that can make. It can make all the difference in the world. No one should have to suffer alone. If you've ever suffered, then you know what it's like to suffer alone. Don't allow others to suffer alone, especially if you care for them. Reach out to your fellow earthling. Reach out to your fellow human being. You never know what difference that could make. And always remember, folks, winners aren't people that never fail. They're people that never quit. So don't you ever quit. And don't you dare give up, especially not on yourself. This is Dead Fred 821. Thank you for joining me today. Peace.